Hey everyone! I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. I am going to run through and do some super fun stories because guess what? Can you see me? Can you see me? Tell me you can see me. There I am. Sorry guys. I realized that I hadn't shared my screen. Haha. It seriously would not be a show without some sort of technical difficulty. All right, guys. So today we are going to talk about something that I absolutely am obsessed with: fraud. Okay, so I am one of those nerds that loves to watch CNBC's American Greed. I love a good fraud story. And I don't know, there's just something about people that rip people off financially. It absolutely, I don't know, I could get lost in these stories. And there is no easier way to rip people off these days than through crowdsourcing sites. So there's been pretty large fundraising goals that have raised a ton of money that have ripped lots of people off. And there have been some more, smaller crimes that have happened. But fraud happens on GoFundMe all the time. They insist that it happens less than 10% of the time, but I don't know. I feel like I can always find a shady campaign anytime I'm on that page. And I actually got a little cute into this because when my son was sick years ago, well, he's not medically healthy right now, but he's stable, I should say. He was in the hospital on life support, and a friend of mine set up a I've got a hair right here I need to fix. Where is it? You guys, help me fix my hair. Okay. A friend of mine set up a GoFundMe. There it is again. All right. A friend of mine set up a GoFundMe. And when she set up the GoFundMe, my son was on life support and I had been out of school, work for a long time, and 6 months at this point. And we were short on cash because I had been on a full maternity leave. And then the day after I went back to work off of maternity leave, my son stopped breathing. And we were in the hospital for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. And he was on life support and he almost died. And so I had actually never heard of GoFundMe. And this was back in 2012 or 13, early 2013. And my friend set it up for me. And, family members and friends raised a lot of money for us, and it was super helpful because we were able to pay our mortgage, we were able to pay off all of the medical bills. It really helped us in a time that was really tough. But at the same time, there's also been times when during that campaign, people accused my family of making up the story that my son was ill or fabricating facts that happened within the story, or asking for their money back because they thought that we were lying. And it really got me thinking, why do people assume that if you start a crowdsourcing site, and this was for medical expenses, which is what a lot of GoFundMe accounts are for, it got me thinking, why does this happen? Why are we being accused? I mean, one woman went as far as demanded that she send us a check back in the mail to her. So I had to mail a check back to New Jersey for $25 because she didn't believe that my son had a heart condition. It was the wildest thing. And mind you, my friend set this whole fundraiser up. So it wasn't like, we were out there searching and, it's just these things happen, right? So, I'm so OCD, you guys, with my hair. So if with my own experience with GoFundMe, I realize that I'm probably not the only one that's been accused of ripping people off. But more importantly, because people are accusing me, that must mean that there's people on GoFundMe that are ripping people off. And that sent me down a wormhole where I've learned a lot about fraudulent campaigns. And for years I've tracked numbers of, fraudulent campaigns. I've actually known people to start fraudulent campaigns. I had no idea people did this, and I am not the kind of person that steals money, so I wasn't really cued into this. So I every once in a while I look to try to find a new GoFundMe fraud story, and today I actually found a doozy. So let me pull up Miss Cynthia Davis. Cynthia Davis is quite the treat, you guys. She was sentenced earlier in March for stealing GoFundMe donations that were for a burn victim. So back in 2015, a friend of Cynthia's named Wendy, her daughter Haley Mae was burned. So Haley Mae was out playing in the backyard in a fort with her brother, and inside the fort there was 2 other boys and they were smoking. Haley Mae was annoyed by the smoke, and so she tried to get out, and she's 11, so not smoking at this time, clearly. So she wants to get out of the fort, and one of the boys that's smoking gets mad at her and wants to stop her from leaving. So he took his lighter and he set her dress on fire. And so when her dress caught fire, she sustained burns, 3rd-degree burns on 17% of her body. So she had to be hospitalized for a total of 18 days. And while they were in the hospital, her mother, Wendy, didn't leave, was with, Haley Mae the entire time. She had to go through all kinds of graphing. It was a very traumatic time financially and emotionally for the family. And so Cynthia reached out to Wendy and said, I'd like to set up a GoFundMe account for your family to help raise money. So within days, the donations start pouring into this woman's account for Haley Mae. She uses pictures of Haley Mae. She gives updates. And the entire time, she drains every donation, every funding dollar. And she and her husband pay off their gas bill, their water bill. They go to Kmart, Walmart. They buy some stuff at a pawn shop. They go out to eat. It's like they just went on a spending spree with money that was designed for Haley Mae to help her family out financially during this time. So a couple months, so the burn happened in September, and in December, Wendy asked Cynthia for the money because she had only given her a couple $100, and Cynthia told her all of the money was gone, every last dime. So Cynthia files a police report. Wendy files a police report. Cynthia and her husband, I think Matt, are arrested. And for some reason, it took 3 years for this thing to play out in court. Apparently, court in Kansas is very backed up. And I can't even believe this. She was convicted. She went through a jury trial and was convicted. And do you have any idea what the judge sentenced this lady to? Any clue? She got 1 year of probation. 1 year. She stole $8,100 and got a year of probation. And she has to pay restitution to the family. Her husband pled guilty in November. He also got 1 year of probation, and he has to make a payment of $150 per month for 5 years to the family. So apparently, in the state of Kansas, if you steal $8,000 from someone, all you get is probation. So I can't really figure out why this would happen, because when I looked up the class felonies sentencing guidelines for what she was charged with, the sentencing should have been 4 to 7 months in prison and a fine of up to $100,000, which clearly she wouldn't have a fine that much for stealing $8,000. But still, she should have gotten some jail time. I mean, why did they put her on probation? It's ridiculous. So she stole money from a girl, an 11-year-old girl. How callous do you have to be to steal money from a girl that's in the hospital having like skin grafts, recovering from 3rd-degree burns? Like, and she did this to her friend. If my friend did this to me, I would be so frustrated. Joker's wild. No, she was convicted. She went through a jury trial. A jury convicted her on the counts of theft, and it was a felony, and she got probation. That's it. Her husband pled guilty, and he got probation. So I'm not quite sure why she gets probation when she's convicted, and then her husband takes a reduced plea and he gets probation. Some judge really likes this family, and I'm not sure why. So that case really, really, really made me mad when I was looking through it today, because I thought, if my friend, like this friend didn't only get their money like taken from them, they also had a friend use them in an extremely vulnerable time, profit off that vulnerable time, and then use photos of a child that's sick to earn money that she never intended to give to her friend, ever. So this is one of the worst like stories I've read about GoFundMe in a long time. But this next story is probably one that you've heard of before, and I think it took a lot of us by storm last year. So this trio is, whoops, not that one. This trio is quite the motley crew. But these three created the most viral campaign of GoFundMe in recent history, and all of it was a lie. So these three created a campaign in 2017. And in the photo, you'll see there's, what's his name? Bobbitt, what's his last? Johnny Bobbitt, he is on the left. And then there's Mark D'Amico, he's in the middle. And then there's Caitlin McClure, and she's on the far right. So in November, McClure and D'Amico, the guy in the middle and the girl on the right, created a campaign on GoFundMe. The campaign was titled Paying It Forward. They told us a compelling story about a homeless man. So in the campaign, which is now removed from GoFundMe, they told donors that McClure ran out of gas, and she was on an off-ramp. And when she ran out of gas, she pulled over, and Bobbitt was on the side of the road, and he offered her $20 to fill up her gas tank. He told her to stay in her car. He walked with his $20 to the local gas station. He walked back with the gas in a little gas can, and he filled her up, and she took off. And after it happened, she apparently took a picture. And in the campaign, she wrote, "I never ran out of gas before, and my heart was beating out of my chest. I pulled over as far as I could, and I got out of the car and to head to the nearest gas station. And that's when I met Johnny. He told me to get back in the car and lock the door. A few minutes later, he comes back with a red gas can, using his last $20 to make sure we could get home safe." So to thank him for his good deed, she said she wanted to raise money to help him get back on his feet. Bobbitt was a homeless veteran and she wanted to help him secure housing. So this campaign went up in November of 2017 and it went nuts. By mid-December, the campaign had raised $400,000 to help Bobbitt. These guys were everywhere. They appeared on Good Morning America and on Ellen, and they were praised as being, such like Bobbitt was like praised for being a good Samaritan, and McClure and D'Amico were looked at like these very concerned and loving people that saw a homeless man in need and wanted to do something to give back to him. So all of it could have just stayed that way, and the media never would have been any wiser. But in the summer of 2018, the relationship between them went completely south, and Bobbitt sued the couple for stealing the money, and he appeared on and then the couple appeared on the Today Show on Megyn Kelly's now defunct hour of the Today Show, denying that they did anything with the money, yet they were presented with photos of them on a helicopter ride and photos of a BMW, and they they said that all of those things were things that they paid for. And she had a photo with a new Louis Vuitton purse, and they were like, nope, that's, I made that with my work money and I didn't take any of his money. So he basically says that he gets no money from them. They never buy him a house. Mind you, they had $400,000. Instead, they bought him a trailer that they parked on their property, and then they made him stay there. But, and this is what gets me here, is that they wanted to control his drug habit because I think he was addicted to heroin. And so he reports them to police, right? So police go to their property to execute a search warrant to see what happened to this money. And so they removed a 2015 BMW, jewelry, cash, and all of their personal and financial business statements. They took their phones and they got access to over 60,000 text messages. They uploaded, so hours before she uploaded the campaign to GoFundMe, she text messaged a friend that said, the gas part is completely made up, but the guy isn't. I had to make something up to make people feel bad, so shh about the made up part. And then additional messages between D'Amico and McClure revealed that the two met Bobbitt more than a month before she launched the campaign, and they initially had met him when he was panhandling right off the interstate, and it was right near a casino because Mr. D'Amico has a gambling problem. So text messages between the two of them were like, why? I don't know why, but I keep thinking about the homeless guy. I think, I just thought about him. I think we need to do something for him. And they wanted to try to find a way to help him out. And so they decided to go back to the off-ramp where they first met him. They found him, they took a photo, and then they actually conspired with Bobbitt to create this campaign. So the entire story she had made about running out of gas was a complete lie. And she believed that the authorities initially believed that Bobbitt had no role in the conspiracy, but then they uncovered a tweet from Bobbitt from 2012 where he wrote the same thing on his Twitter that said, so this girl runs out of gas and has a flat tire at the same time I'm in front of Walmart and she's blocking traffic. So I run to the gas station, change her tire, and I spent the only cash I had for supper, but at least she got to get her little children home safe. So they didn't know if that actually happened if it did happen, if it inspired what happened in 2017. They don't really know, or they said it's clearly not a coincidence. And so the texts between the couple also admit that they spent a ton of the money on their own thing. They purchased a car, they took trips, they bought expensive handbags. They were super confident they weren't going to run out of money. And then you guys, this was so bad. he ended up spending almost all of the money on gambling. And then when the money ran out, he was so confident that they could milk this story for all it was that Mark was trying to sell a book that he thought would get picked up and make him millions about how he helped this guy off of the highway. So basically, Bobbitt sued them for not giving them any money. They go to court. There's no money left. Like, in court, their lawyers say all the money's gone. Prosecutors and investigators unravel this entire case. The whole thing was a freaking lie. So all three of them end up getting arrested. And just last week, actually, I think Bobbitt and McClure, the girl, they pled guilty. I don't think Mark has. And then D'Amico and McClure are now no longer a couple. And she says that she was like swindled by him and the two men conned her. So the stories are ever changing with this crew. I don't know. I remember I watched the Today interview and I didn't know a whole lot about the couple, but even just watching the Today interview with Megyn Kelly, I could tell they were lying. And they were just like, we're just guarding the money because he's a drug addict and we don't want him to waste the money. And we promise we have all of the money. And we gave him $25,000, which they did give Bobbitt $25,000 and he actually blew it like in days on drugs. So, I mean, part of that excuse made a little bit of sense, but at the same time, like they parking a trailer on their property. Who wants to live in a freaking trailer on somebody's property that you don't even know? And then they ended up stealing like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like $300,000 from this guy. So had they not even, like, had Bobbitt never even sued them for stealing money from him, this never would have actually been found out, period. So it was like his greed for wanting a bigger cut of this pot that ultimately led to the demise of all three of them. And so now they're, totally, they were like darlings of the media. And now they are just shameful humans. It's pretty sad, to be honest. This story was everywhere. And I think Mark's case is still going on. So I should see what was her sentence? So Johnny and Caitlin, they pled guilty. It says they pleaded guilty on Wednesday of 2 weeks ago. And it doesn't say much more than that. Oh, Bobbitt pled guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering, and McClure pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. And they still face state level charges in New Jersey. So they had state and federal charges against them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and how much time they'll get. They'll probably end up getting a slap on the wrist. And maybe one of the one of the worst parts of the story is that they used his whole veteran status as a way to get people to donate to him. But then the Marines, some Marine journal did some digging into his records, and he actually served less than a year and he was discharged. And I don't think it was honorably. So even though he served, he didn't serve for very long, and he was never in combat. And he said he was in combat. So the whole story was just a mess. I guess when this one happened, I can't say I was really that surprised, because it seemed a little bit too good to be true. And I think if anything, this story tells you if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. So the next one is, let's see. We did her. Oh, this beauty. this little beauty. So this little treat, she didn't actually get in trouble. Nothing bad happened, but the story itself was a complete lie. And we actually found this one through I think it was on Stop Mandatory Vaccination, because the mother was in the anti-vax group basically saying that her husband was, or her ex-husband was going to vaccinate her kids, and she didn't want him to be vaccinated. And they actually ended up splitting up because dad wanted to have them vaccinated and she didn't. And so she was like crazy, out of her mind, super upset. What am I going to do? I need an attorney. He's super rich. I'm not. I need a lawyer. And so she set up this deceptive GoFundMe where she basically said that she wrote this: imagine the last 6 years being a stay-at-home mom. You've been taking care of your kids, your husband, and your home. Then imagine an unsettling feeling begins. You know something is happening, but you can't put your finger on it. This feeling grows strong enough to make you flee your home with your children. As a result, you are homeless and penniless without the ability to legally protect your children, and you have nothing. The ex has access to free and unlimited legal counsel, yet you are no longer have access to marital money. You scramble to get a full-time job, to apply for benefits, and to find help anywhere you can. However, he has the high-dollar attorney that costs him nothing, and the clock is ticking. We've been to legal aid and told they will let you know if someone will take your case. We've been told you've been to lawyers who all want retainers, but you have no money. What do you do? So it all sounds super compelling, right? It sounds like she was fleeing a domestic abuse situation. She's got a sense that something naughty is going on, and she is using I am a poor, struggling mother, and I have a big, bad husband that's trying to take away my kids. So after the campaign went online, she went to the Vaccine Truth Movement to share the link. And in the post, she said, "Can you please share or donate? My husband is about to get full custody of my kids and wants to vaccinate them according to the CDC schedule. Please help me." So they split up. She created this entire story about how her kids were going to get, like how she was fleeing a domestic battery situation. And it turned out that the reason why she was raising money was because she wanted to stop her husband from getting full custody because she didn't want him to vaccinate her children. It was the most annoying story ever. The campaign ultimately got taken down, or not got taken down. It got reported so many times that at one point they stopped taking donations because people within the Vaccine Truth Movement got screenshots. It got shared everywhere. They sent the screenshots to me. They told me to write a story. I wrote the story. And, she ends up, I think they ended up raising $5,000 or $6,000 for her, which is crazy. But at the same time, the whole story was a lie. She didn't want, this had nothing to do with her being abused. She literally just wanted to stop him from vaccinating the kids. And it sounds like their relationship dissolved over fights regarding her beliefs and his beliefs not aligning. And so she creates this false campaign, and all to stop her husband or ex-husband from vaccinating her kids. I hate that one. I seriously hate that one. All right, so I see some of you talking about the fake cancer one, so we'll just jump right into that one. This one. All right. This chick is a real treat, you guys. This story is insane. So this happened in Michigan. And she was sentenced for defrauding more than 400 people after lying about having stage 4 breast cancer. Her name is Candace Strang, and she's from Brighton, Michigan. She started the scam in 2015. She told friends and family via Facebook that she had stage 4 breast cancer, and then in 2017, she posted that new treatments for her cancer were available, but insurance would not cover the procedure. Friends and family set up a GoFundMe and to help a benefit for her. The fundraising efforts ended up led to her earning more than $37,000. According to court records, they say that she updated her friends and family via Facebook that she had breast cancer in 2015, and then for several years she continued to perpetuate this lie about her journey with cancer. She never actually had cancer, and she admitted in court that she committed the crime to get attention from friends and family. And the whole lie sort of took up, like, she got a lot more attention in early 2017 because she let friends and family know that doctors told her about a new treatment that could save her life, but she wasn't going to be able to have insurance to cover it. And so she used this, like, I'm dying and I really want to do this treatment, but I can't afford it and my insurance won't cover it. So friends of hers set up the GoFundMe account. And through the GoFundMe, friends and even strangers donated $31,000 for her. And then her friends held a benefit for her at a local restaurant, which raised $6,000. Local media published stories about her. Friends believed she was dying and that her drugs, the chemo drugs, cost over $6,000 every 21 days. And she told them that all of her treatments, all of the treatments were exhausted. So there was nothing left for her to do. So she needed to do this, like, experimental treatment. And then she utilized the fact that she worked as a nanny. And so while she worked as a nanny, moms that were within the play group helped raise money for her as well. So the whole scam unraveled when she told a friend that she lied about having cancer. And then somebody reported the GoFundMe for fraud, and then police got involved. And through the investigation, they determined her entire story was a lie. In January of 2018, police notified the local media that the GoFundMe account associated with her was fake, and they worked with GoFundMe to refund the donors that paid for the fake treatments. And then GoFundMe released a statement that basically said that our platform is backed by GoFundMe guarantee, which means that in the rare case that GoFundMe law enforcement or user finds donations were misused, donors are fully protected and will get their money back. Additionally, it's important to remember that misuse is extremely rare on our platform. So they said that campaigns with misuse make up less than 0.1% of their campaigns. And with that said, it's unfortunate and rare. So she gets arrested in April of 2018, and she denied that she lied about having cancer. And then they shut the GoFundMe account down by police. And so she could not stop the con. So then when they shut down her GoFundMe, she started reaching out to friends and asked them to donate money to her via PayPal. So the county circuit court ended up charging her with using false pretenses to obtain $20,000 and $50,000. It was punishable by up to 15 years in prison. She pled guilty on the charge. In her sentencing, she pleaded for leniency from the judge, and she felt that her time behind bars that she had been in since April was sufficient. And she said she had paid back around $19,000 to the victims. She said that she felt super remorseful for what she did. She blamed depression and anxiety for her inability to make friends, and that she enjoyed the attention she got when she lied about having cancer. And She said she only realizes now she could have just been herself and made friends. Several of the victims spoke at her sentencing, um, and were just devastated and felt like really sad about what happened. One woman, Sarah Bees, testified that she felt that Strang needed extensive mental health counseling. So the judge did not agree with her lenient, like to just give her a slap on the wrist. And he ended up sentencing her to 28 months to 15 years in prison for the crime. And he said that due to her age, he does believe that she can reform herself, but her plot was so elaborate and lasted so many years that he felt that she needed to go to jail for a little while to learn a lesson. So she faked cancer and then started a fundraiser, and then her friends start a fundraiser. Her friends. Then she's a nanny, and she tells her nanny friend or her like play group that she's got cancer, and then they like raise money for her. I mean, in the local media, there were photos of her with the play group at the park talking about her cancer. And her friends were like so sad, thinking their friend was gonna die. And you know what's crazy here is like a lot of clinical trials are free. So if anyone would have done their due diligence and really looked into this case and learned about clinical trials, they would have learned that most clinical trials are free and have to be free if they're through the FDA. So to me, this case, sometimes with these scammers, I feel like they really play on like the heartstrings of people, and then people get sucked into the story, and then they don't do their due diligence and actually look into the claims that the people are making. And so in this case, had anyone actually looked into these cancer treatments, they would have realized that, what she was asking for would have been offered to her for free through the company that was doing the clinical trial. So this case was so unnerving. And to be honest, this one probably pissed me off the most, just considering the fact that it's cases like this that make it so much harder for families that have, medical emergencies or have like sick children, or, parents that are ill, or, a tragedy happens with the family and people need help. And then you have so many people now that look at crowdsourcing as a joke and not wanting to actually donate money. And so, it makes it harder for people in need to actually get money because other people are defrauding. And once someone has been ripped off once, they're going to be less likely to donate to anyone again. So it's, these types of cases they have a ripple effect. And I mean, crowdsourcing by no means is like perfect. I'm sure the fraud on these sites is what they say GoFundMe is. I mean, but to be honest, I don't even know how GoFundMe verifies that. I mean, for crying out loud, GoFundMe lets Larry Cook have like active campaigns where he uses a portion of the money to pay his bills. So if Larry Cook can set up GoFundMe accounts and he doesn't get his taken down like ever, how like closely is this website actually even monitoring the accounts that are on that or the campaigns that are on it? Because I know people that report Larry's campaign every single day, and yet his campaign is still live. So please explain that to me, GoFundMe. I would love to know. Okay, and then there's this one other case, and I don't have a photo for it, you guys, but I'm pretty sure you remember this one. So remember back in like, I don't know, was it back last fall? It was. Yeah, last fall. So remember when Trump was all like, we need to build a wall. Well, I mean, he's still saying like they need to build a wall. But remember when Trump was all about building a wall, and then the federal government was like, we're not going to build the wall. And oh wait, that still is going on. So remember the guy that was like an amputee that was in the military, and he started a GoFundMe where he said that he was going to build a wall and donate all of the proceeds to the federal government? Do you remember that campaign? Because that campaign was a fraud too. So the campaign was launched by Air Force veteran Brian Colfage. He raised $20 million for the southern border wall. Okay? And GoFundMe said that Colfage changed the parameters of the campaign after the fact, and then they shut down the campaign for fraud. And they said they would be refunding all the money by April 11th, 2019. So when he started the campaign, he titled it "We Fund the Wall," right? And he promised that all donations made would go to the government. The campaign went viral. I mean, it was everywhere. It was on Fox, it was on CNN. Everybody had this campaign. So I think this started in, I don't know, right around Christmas time. By December 27th, the Daily Caller reported that Colfage learned that the federal government would not accept the money he raised through the campaign. And then after learning the information, he opened a nonprofit in Florida called We Build the Wall on December 28th. Even though he knew the federal government would not accept the money, he failed to update the campaign. And so the Daily Caller obtained a copy of the paperwork that was filed on December 8th by Colfage for his nonprofit. And he says the purpose of the nonprofit is to provide funding, construction, and administering and maintaining the United States southern border wall. After he filed the documents to set up the nonprofit, the GoFundMe stayed active, and then instead of updating the donors, it remained the same. And so from December 28th till January 11th, the fundraiser collected $2.8 million more. And GoFundMe became aware of the changes, and they determined that his change was deceptive to donors. And they said that the organizers specifically stated the campaign, if we don't reach our goal or come significantly close, we will refund every single penny. He also stated on the campaign page, 100% of your donations will go to the Trump wall. So they said that by diverting the money to his nonprofit, that's not like legit. But Colfage got creative, and when he realized that the government wouldn't accept the money, he set up the nonprofit so that the money could be paid directly from GoFundMe to the nonprofit. So they can still divert the funds to the nonprofit, but the nonprofit literally has no transparency at all. It doesn't have a mission. It doesn't have any goals. There's like no information at all about it. There's no bylaws. They couldn't find anything about it. And then other media outlets were kind of confused about how he even intended to construct the wall and stay within federal regulations. He told them that he was going to form a board of directors to provide critical guidance on the project's legal, engineering, contracting, environmental, accounting, maintenance, and real estate issues. And so despite the massive red flags with all of this, he told multiple outlets that at least a third of the donors opted to transfer their donations to the nonprofit. And he says that any donor that does not opt to transfer funds, so GoFundMe said that any person that opts not to transfer it to the nonprofit will receive a refund. But then even more shadiness came out about his background. So he listed that his nonprofit was in Florida, but then he set up a donation route in Texas. So the Daily Caller was unable to find any record of We Fund the Wall formal existence, and multiple inquiries requesting the organization's documents have gone ignored. Charity Watch said that it was a huge red flag, that people should give right to organizations that they want to support, but in this case, the money could be stolen or misdirected. So essentially, this dude set up a GoFundMe. He knew that the federal government was not going to be able to get the money, sets up a nonprofit, diverts the money to the nonprofit, doesn't even have anything set up but a name of the nonprofit, and then people are still sending him money. You know where that money's going. It's literally going into his pocket to fund his lifestyle. It is not going to build a wall. And yet people are donated millions of dollars to this guy. Who are these idiots? Who donates money to somebody that's like, we're going to build a wall? Seriously? Oh my gosh. Seriously. Trump can't even get the wall built anyway. Like seriously, these Trumpeteers, I cannot understand these people at all. So, Trumpa-Nazis. So I don't talk about politics very much, but I am a good liberal, and I am not a Trump supporter. And I am not, I have friends that are Republican, and as long as I don't talk to them about politics, we are fine. But I will never understand people that think that building a wall on our southern border is the right answer for our immigration problem. Maybe we should actually just, go down to Guatemala and try to help them build up their infrastructure and get them out of civil war and, get the guerrillas out of there and get the drug traffickers out of there. And then maybe so many people won't try to come up to the United States. But, just build a wall. They can't, by chance come in by plane and the thing is most immigrants don't even come through the wall, don't even come through the southern border. So many of them come on visas and then never leave. It's just the stupidest thing ever. I don't understand these people. I don't at all. And I said I was a Spanish major, so I have so many friends. I have a Spanish degree, I should say, not a major. I have a Spanish degree, and I have so many friends that are, from Latin America, and they just they can't even comprehend this. Oh, yeah, the drug war is a huge problem for sure. If there wasn't a cocaine problem, there wouldn't be any of these issues. Absolutely. So, and guns are a huge problem too. So, yeah, and well, Trump actually got his wife visas or got them permanent residency. So it's okay for him to use immigration stuff as long as they're white, right? It's just the brown people that he doesn't like, clearly. So, and he doesn't like the people that are from SHIT whole countries. So, I don't know. He did his whole campaign on that stupid wall. So if it doesn't get built, I just hope that nobody votes for him. I had a dream 2 nights ago that it was the 2020 election and he won. And I was devastated because if we have to have 4 more years of him, I'm going to lose my mind. So, sorry, that was my political rant for the night. So GoFundMe has so many fraudulent stories. I don't know which one of those stories really bothered you the most. To be honest, if I'm looking at all of these, I would say the woman that stole the money from the 11-year-old girl, even though it was only $8,000, I think that one upsets me the most because she stole money from a little girl. Who steals money from a little girl? And then I think my second most annoying story is the one where she faked her cancer diagnosis. Because, she convinced her friends that she was dying from cancer. And that pissed me off to no end because I've had 2 friends die from cancer. And I know how hard it is to lose someone. And I've watched people go through terminal cancer. But yeah, the little girl story one makes me so upset. And then just to know that nothing from a legal standpoint is even really going to happen to them made me so angry. And I can only imagine that if that little girl had burns on 17% of her body, she's probably got so much scarring, and her recovery must have been so painful. And her poor mother, can you imagine? I've spent a lot of time in the hospital, you guys, with my son. And I know what it's like to be stuck at a bedside with a child. And I know what it's like to watch a child recovering from like really, really hard surgeries. And I know what it's like to look at your bank account and just like wonder, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay for my utilities? How am I going to buy food? How am I going to pay for gas? I mean, I have been in that position, and it's really stressful. And then you top that off by having a child that is extremely ill and needs all of you. And so you're emotionally drained, you're worried like you're going to lose your house and lose all of your possessions, and then you have someone reach out and you think they're going to help you, and then they just steal all of the money from you. It's devastating. So devastating. While moving to Canada would help with the medical expenses, it wouldn't help with being out of work, which is usually what the main problem is in most of these cases. Is that for me, it wasn't so much the medical bills, it was the loss of expenses from not having a paycheck. So, and yeah, like no parent should have to worry about money when they're dealing with a child that's in a life-threatening situation. So that, thankfully, the little girl's, she recovered and she's doing well now. But I just, that mother must have been so devastated, because not only did she have a friend like steal money from her, but then, she lost a friendship, and her friend used her at a really vulnerable time. I mean, that's really crappy. So crappy. I mean, to use somebody else's like really dark time in their lives and then for your own personal gain, that's deplorable. She's a piece of crap. Candace, you are a piece of crap. You are a horrible human being. You are not in jail. You should be in jail. Nobody should like be your friend. I hope that you get some therapy and that you pay back these people. And then I hope people steal money from you, and so you have to feel what it's like to be completely broke. And I hope that it's like the worst thing in the life. You are such a jerk face, Candace. Or Cynthia. I'm sorry, Cynthia. Cynthia, you are such a jerk face. She could have started off with the good intentions. You're right. But I don't know. That's the thing with GoFundMe, is I will tell you from experience, if you're ever in a situation where someone offers to set up a GoFundMe for you or a crowdfunding source, make sure that you take control of the account as soon as they set it up. So make sure that you get access to the account. Make sure that the WePay that is used through GoFundMe is accessed directly to you, and that the person that's running the campaign has no access to the money. Because my friend set up a GoFundMe for our family, and what we did was she just set it up in name, and then she handed me over all of the credentials. I changed the account information. I set up the WePay account, and then I was able to transfer all of the money to our bank account. They never saw, like my friends never saw a dime of it. They never even tried to see a dime. So if that happens to you in the future, make sure that you get your name on the WePay account so that your friends cannot touch the money, period. I mean, you can let your friends update, but make sure the WePay is in your name, at least. But to be honest, GoFundMe is kind of a ripoff. I think they take like 7.5% of all of the revenue. So if you really want to get money from friends, have them send you a check or have them send you a PayPal as a gift. Seriously, PayPal as a gift doesn't take any money, and checks don't take money. So if you really want all of your money, don't use GoFundMe and don't use YouCaring. So, all right, guys, that's the end of tonight's stream. I hope you enjoyed this. I love fraud cases. So yes, it's 7.5%. GoFundMe takes a huge chunk of the money, and they take it every time you withdraw. So if you withdraw in small chunks, they'll take it every single time. So if you withdraw more, they end up taking more money. So that's why it adds up so fast. I mean, they ended up taking thousands of the hundreds of dollars from our fundraiser. It was terrible. So I would not recommend using GoFundMe at all. Yeah, they probably allow Larry Cook because they're making money off of his stupid campaigns. It's a money-making business for GoFundMe. It's really, really, really not anything to do with them. So as always, guys, if you like these, please make sure you give me a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe to my channel. I have hit close to 1,200 subscribers. I am going to be hitting the 2-week mark since I launched the channel. So to think that I've had basically 600 subscribers each week is pretty awesome. I can't actually believe that it's moved this quickly, but I am super excited that we are continuing this journey. I am working on an essential oils one for you guys, and I can't decide if I want to actually do a piece about the dangers of essential oils or if I want to do ridiculous stories about essential oils, because I have both, and I could do both, or I could do them together. So I could actually do 2 separate on essential oils. But thank you so much, Pup. I know you found me through the Schofield stuff. So if any of you have not watched my uploads about the Susan and Michael Schofield custody case and the CPS drama, those videos have literally gone insane. One of the videos I think has 50,000 views at this point. I uploaded that on a Sunday, and I had 30 subscribers when I uploaded it, and it's been seen 50,000 times. That's so insane. That's so insane. So anyways, you guys, I will be back probably tomorrow. I don't know what we'll cover. I can do both on the essential oils. I can do one on my crazy essential oil stories, and then I can just do one on the, the stupidness of essential oils. There's so much to talk about with essential oils. I freaking have so many stories about essential oils, you guys, because I got sucked into the essential oil cult for a while. So thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow.